With the Skyview Temple now behind us, our next destination is back at the statue of the goddess, where we can insert the ruby tablet. Much like the emerald tablet opened up the forest region, the Farron region, the ruby tablet will open up the next region of the game, which is the Eldin Volcano to the north. There are several side quests we can do before ever heading to the Eldin Volcano. However, our first destination is going to be at the statue of the goddess because we have to insert that tablet to set into motion some of these side quests. So we'll just fly on over and fly right to the statue of the goddess and dive right here. It's not actually in like real time because like there's the loading screen between the sky and the land below. So there's actually I believe 4 or 5 set locations where you can land. One of them is by the statue of the goddess. So just fly on over to this vicinity and then run on inside. Just like before, just run on over and insert the ruby tablet. This will trigger a cutscene that sends a beam of light to the area just to the north. So we can fly there as soon as we complete the necessary preparations. What does that really entail? Anyway, once you leave the statue of the goddess and you start running towards the main area of the island, you'll immediately get called over by Rhyna. I think that's how you spell her name, Rhyna. W-R-Y-N-A, Rhyna. Anyway, she is missing her daughter, Kukil. Kukil is this little, I think, 6-year-old girl who lives on the island. You could have seen her like running around earlier, but she has gone missing, and her mother seems to say that she's been captured by a monster. Right. Well, this sort of leads us to on a little bit of a side quest, and this is the beginning of the side quest of Skyward Sword in reality, because this is going to open up the entire what is referred to as Gratitude Crystals side quest, and basically almost all of the side quests in the game revolve around the Gratitude Crystals. So this is basically the initial steps you have to take in order to open up these side quests. So she asked you to help find her daughter, and we are going to be doing that throughout this video. You can run around and speak to some of the folks in town, and they give you hints about where her daughter is and where she could be. Before we get further along with that, I'm going to make a quick stop here at the bazaar. And if you enter the bazaar, you'll find that the item salesman has some new items for sale. In particular, he has an upgraded shield, or not really an upgraded shield, but a brand new shield in the form of an iron shield. You almost certainly want to purchase this shield before heading to the Eldin Volcano region, much for the reason as it can last. It can block fire pretty much, and there's a lot of fire-based enemies. It's a volcano after all. So if you do not purchase one, your wooden shield or your banded shield, even if you've upgraded it could burn, and you don't want to do that. Otherwise, you'll have to purchase a new one and start all over. You can also purchase a small seed bag. Basically, this allows you to store more slingshot ammo, basically, and it's useful. You could purchase one. We'll actually get one from a goddess cube, one of the goddess treasures eventually, so it's pretty optional whether you want to buy it or not. It's up to you. As I mentioned earlier, you want to always talk to Patrice, the item check woman. Just constantly talk to her throughout the games, as this will trigger one of her later side quests. I'm going to drop off my banded shield right now, much for the reason is I don't need it at all. I'm not going to need it in the Eldin region or in the next dungeon, just because, as I said, it's completely useless, as if it will easily burn to fire-based enemies. So at this point, what you really want to do is just run around town and talk to some of the citizens that are wandering around outside. Some of them will have bubbles over their head, and they basically give you clues on what you need to do in order to find Kukil. In particular, if you run to the east end of town, basically the residency area, you will find Oriel. She is one of the female characters here in Skyloft, and there's a bubble over her head, as you can see right here. You can talk to her, and she gives you a hint on what you need to do. She mentions that a child has gone missing by the graveyard, so that's the first hint, and she asks you whether you believe in monsters or whatever, and depending on what you answer, she might or might not give you advice, but eventually you can just talk to her again, and eventually once you say I do, she will give you the hint. She'll give you a hint that there's a character off by the lumpy pumpkin, an old man. He knows about this apparent monster. He's a little loony. Nobody really talks to him. He sort of rambles a lot, and if you might have already spoken to him at the lumpy pumpkin, but either way, our next destination is going to be over at the lumpy pumpkin. So jump on Link's bird and let's fly on over. For the most part, I'm going to be fast forwarding through a lot of these sequences in the sky, just because it's a little slow sometimes and it doesn't really add much value. One thing here, right above the entrance to the lumpy pumpkin, there is one of the goddess treasure chests that we got, that we unlocked. In particular, this is the one that was found behind the Skyview Spring. You might have noticed that I made those purchases at the bazaar for this particular reason, because you might have had over 300 rupees, or at least close to that. And this treasure chest contains a gold rupee, which contains 300 rupees. I didn't want to fill up my wallet because that's sort of a waste of rupees if you do fill up your wallet. So make sure you have, if you've gotten the wallet upgrade, make sure you have less than 300 rupees, and if you don't, why not go and purchase something? There's a lot of goodies to buy at the bazaar and in Beetle's air shop. So the old man here has a bubble over his head, and he basically wants to know if you want to hear an old man's ramblings, and he basically gives you a clue of what you need to do in order to find this apparent monster that kidnapped Kukil. Well, he mentions that if you just listen to what he has to say, he mentions that he found a secret, or he found a person in the graveyard some time ago, and it was next to the big tree in the graveyard, and he rolled and hit into one of the gravestones near the tree, and then he pushed it, causing a secret storage shed to open. It's basically a step-by-step instruction in terms of what you need to do. There's a gravestone right next to the tree. You need to roll into it at nighttime. It'll trigger, you can push it, and it opens up an entrance to the storage shed. So this is pretty much exactly what we need to do. So there's nothing else to do here at the lumpy pumpkin, so just head outside, jump on your loft wing, and I'll fast forward our way to Skyloft. In order to make it nighttime, if you haven't already, you'll have to just enter any one of the dozen houses in Skyloft, or the rooms at the Night Academy, and just walk over to one of the beds. Any of the beds will do. And you can just sleep in there person's house in their bed, even if it's not your own. I find that kind of creepy to begin with. In some cases, there's people like at nighttime that are sleeping right next to you. So it's like, I just can't imagine this. It's like you are sleeping, and then the owner of the house just shows up and finds that there's somebody sleeping in their bed. Or in this particular example, there's only one bed in this location. Thus, we are taking that person's spot. But I also find that some characters just never sleep throughout this entire game. They're in one set location during the daytime and one set location at nighttime. And, well, they never move at all. It's kind of creepy, really. And some of them are just outside and then they come inside, while some of them are just standing in one location throughout the entire game. Anyway, at nighttime there are some choo-choo and some keys, as well as the enemy remnants, but you can just avoid them or defeat them. Roll into this, into the gravestone here at the corner and push it, and the storage shed opens up just as it was told. You can just climb down the ladder, or it's a lot quicker to just jump down. It's actually low enough, it's not that large of a jump where even if you fall straight to the bottom, you won't actually take any damage. So we found out that Kukiel is alright. She is pretty much safe and sound with Batreaux. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Batreaux. I don't know. But, yeah, Batreaux. That's what it's going to be called. Batreaux is sort of a friendly monster. It's like Casper the Friendly Ghost. This is Batreaux the Friendly Monster. Right. So he talks about gratitude crystals, and there are a bunch of these gratitude crystals that we can find individually. All in all, there are 80 of them in the game. 65 of them are found via side quests, while 15 of them are found individually here in Skyloft and in other islands across the sky. We are going to be getting 10 of the individual ones right now, and the first of which is found at the Knight Academy. So I'm going to make my way on over, and I'm going to cut off this video now, and in the next video we will find all of those 10 individual gratitude crystals. So I will see you guys next time.